And once again, we are live. This is episode number 25 of Savages in the Bronx, live from Studio 54 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And welcome back to the show, post-season edition of Savages in the Bronx on this Monday, October the 4th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by the pumpkin spice latte basic himself, Tom Wospil. Happy October.
Happy October, Richard. How are you doing?
I hear a dog. That was a dog back there.
You can hear? That's not good.
I heard a pup.
I heard she's downstairs and I'm upstairs and the door's shut, so she is being very loud then.
Well, then that is traveling through the vents, but it's all good. Who let the dogs out? Who let the turtles out? The Yankees are going to the postseason, October the 5th, 2021. It will be the day of reckoning in Boston, and either the Red Sox are going to come out victorious to get their edge over the Yankees after the Yankees with the big sweep in that series last weekend, or the Yankees will continue their recent domination of the Red Sox, but with that the offense being as stale as it's been over the last few games, and Gerrit Cole not being the same Gerrit Cole. There's a lot of questions going into it, but we'll get into that later tonight when we talk about our wild card preview. But hell of a game it was yesterday, Tom. Game 162. It took a whole season to get the Yankees into the postseason. And in game 162, the Yankees coming out on top 1-0 against the Rays, headed to the wild card game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you listen to enough Yankee games, you know, Kay says it enough. You know, it's never easy with this team, and yesterday was not easy at all. You know, they had to grind it out. Bullpen was amazing. They got into and got out of a lot of jams. Offense was stagnant, as stagnant can be. But you know, they did piece it together at the end. The one thing you could say about this team is, considering how many close games they played all year, they're just a very playoff ready team. I think, in all honesty, they're not going to be, you know, in over their heads in a one run game. That's all they play. Sorry, this beer is kind of hitting me back right now. Yeah, so they've been playing playoff games all year. So they're ready to they're ready to be in those situations. And yesterday was just another example of it. On to Boston, survive in advance. Wild game yesterday, and now even wilder stakes ahead for the Yankees for their fourth wild card game since the inception of the wild card series. So crazy stuff happening, but we'll get more into it in a little bit on Savages in the Bronx. But hey, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I know Instagram was down for fucking everybody today, but I believe Instagram is back. So you can follow us at Savages Bronx. You can follow Tom at Wospil54.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera. Are you okay, bud? You know, it was like 6-7 hours that IG and Facebook was down. Were you able to move on with your life?
Yeah, Rich, I have work, something to do during the day. Keeps me pretty busy. So I was actually pretty unaware that it was down. After work, I looked and it was like some things don't work. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just go back to not doing that.
Yeah, I had a little something called a lunch break, and I used it to the fullest extent, and couldn't get on the social media. You know, I was like, what's happening here? I'm trying to not tweet out, but I was trying to Instagram post, a hype up for the show, and couldn't get it out, and Instagram was down. And it looks like it's back up now. So
couldn't get it out. A Rich Rivera story.
Yeah, I blame Zuckerberg for that. He's been going through enough, but I blame him because fuck that guy. All right, well, let's move on to the Bronx is burning, and really the only note worthy thing when it comes to injuries is the latest two IL placements, and these are obviously significant players that were going to be part of this. Well, at least one, a significant player of this postseason run, DJ LeMahieu. Placed on the IL with a sports hernia. Obviously, sports hernia is nothing to mess with, and it's an unfortunate injury for LeMahieu, who's had such an up and down, mainly down sort of 2021, and not really living up to the first year of his contract. And then Luke Voit also in the IL after with a left knee inflammation injury that he suffered in the Toronto series. But I'm sure this is something that he had internal dealing with knee problems all year. 2 injuries heading into the postseason, Tom.
Yeah, DJ, you wonder, how long has he been hurt, because he has looked so different this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not looked good all year, so unless he kind of not acquired or whatever, developed that sports hernia in March, you wonder, maybe just a bad year for him, or then that made it worse. But yeah, his loss is definitely big, especially just on how it's going to play out for the team. And we're going to talk about that roster and the lineups in a little bit. So it definitely hurts. Voit hurts too, because Voit was, and again we'll get into the rosters a little bit. He was our one bat off the bench. Right? He's the guy that you think, okay, we're going to go to Voit here in a big spot. Now we don't have that, so it's gonna be something to see how they play it. They're gonna be a team that, hopefully they get past the wild card round, and they get themselves into the DS and hopefully the CS and then hopefully the WS, where they're not gonna really be using the bench. It's gonna basically be the starting guys. Like, who are you gonna bring in? You're gonna bring in, like, you're gonna have Tyler Wade pinch run, but other than that, you're not gonna have things like like that Raul Banez home runs in the playoffs a few years ago, where he was just wrongly pinch hitting for A-Rod. A-Rod should never got pinch hit for. I don't care how it turned out. But
it was a great move, Tom. It was a great move.
It was not a great move. It was a terrible move. A-Rod's the greatest. But yeah, so you're not gonna have any of that. It's gonna be like, hey, U9, you better go score enough runs, and Tyler Wade's gonna pinch run for Stanton at some point, or Higgy or Rizzo, and better figure it out, because this is what we got.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. Like I said, we're gonna get into it a little bit. We'll talk about the roster, who we feel should be making this roster. And we're gonna get to the lineups too. Like Tom and I are gonna predict what the lineup's gonna look like. Or more not predict, but maybe kind of play manager tomorrow and see what the best lineup should be for tomorrow night's game in Boston. Which, by the way, is our next note, because if you don't know this already, you're not a fan, and I don't know why you're tuning in. But tomorrow night, Tuesday, October 5th, 8:08 p.m. on ESPN. So Matty V and A-Rod on the coverage, I would assume.
I would assume so as well.
I would assume, not going to say yes, but it's not official, but I assume that's the broadcast tomorrow.
Be honest, the best part about that is, I think, for as much as I love A-Rod, and I love A-Rod.
Everybody knows.
He's definitely not a good announcer. He was really good when he first started, and now he gets weird, and he says so many just odd off the wall things, and he doesn't like make any statements. He just kind of plays it down the middle. So I don't really particularly enjoy listening to him call a game, but for how upset Red Sox fans are going to be that A-Rod's calling the game, makes it worth it. He's going to piss off everyone, and it's going to be great. I don't care.
Yeah, I like it. I like when he talks about his old times as a Yankee and says still says we, as if he's still part of the organization on a national broadcast.
Granted, I watch occasional Sunday night games that aren't Yankee related, but I love how just every reference that he makes is either to the Yankees or Keith Hernandez, and that's just basically all he talks about. And I wonder if he does that when he calls a Reds Cardinals game. He's just like, well, I guess Keith Hernandez played for the Cardinals. Bad call here, but any other game, I feel like that's all he brings up is playing for the Yankees, playing for the Mariners, Lou Piniella, and Keith Hernandez. Loves Keith. Loves him.
And likes making odd comparisons to other pro athletes from different sports. Very, very odd. A-Rod's an interesting one. He's somebody that I think should not be in the broadcast booth, but should definitely be in a dugout. But the game will just not allow that to ever happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's just someone. It's not A-Rod commentator talk. He's someone that when he first started doing it was great, but now he's afraid to criticize anyone. If you get a glimpse, there's an occasional glimpse where he'll just kind of let it down, and he'll break down a play, and it's incredible because he knows more baseball than any other idiots on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. He knows more baseball than almost anyone else that walks this earth.
Yes.
But then he just gets so guarded where he just doesn't want to insult anyone or anything, and he just makes no commitment of a point. But anyway, that's been A-Rod commentary talk.
I like it, and we'll be hearing A-Rod assuming that he'll be there tomorrow night on the call, but that's not really the note there. Yankees, Red Sox, the probables The problems are confirmed though. Garrett Cole will be opposing Nathan Eovaldi. And there's a little story right there, too. Former Yankee Eovaldi had 2 seasons under his belt in pinstripes, and a guy that the Yankees acquired from the Marlins and were expecting to turn into something big. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. Eovaldi, he lit up the radar guard. He lit up the radar gun, and they liked the speed, and they think they could have capitalized on that. He didn't really work out. He was more on those years that they were in that transition of the older players, the big contract,
Tommy John.
Guard. He was on the team at a weird time. And
he ended up he was a Tommy John guy, right? I think that's how it ended his time with the Yankees.
Yes, and then he did a season with the Rays, or at least a half season with the Rays, and he's been with Boston ever since. So now his best season thus far with the Red Sox, and it's gonna be wild to see it, and another interesting story to add to this game for tomorrow night. Make sure to subscribe to us on Twitch if you haven't already, and that's the way for you to know that we're live. You get that notification that will pop up as a banner if you have an Android or an iOS to let you know when we're live here for Savages in the Bronx. So make sure to subscribe to us at Savages Bronx here on Twitch. I believe it's Savages. Oh, no, it's Savages in the Bronx. I was waiting for my ticker. Savages in the Bronx. So subscribe to us. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Savages Bronx for more details. And our link is obviously in our bio as well. Before we move on and talk about the playoffs, obviously, I got to cover some Sincerely Allie. And before I get into the sponsor spot of Sincerely Allie, it's been a great first season of Savage in the Bronx, and I want to thank Sincerely Allie for being a great sponsor throughout. We don't know if this is going to be the final. No, we don't know if next Monday is going to be the final weekly episodic show of the season, given what the Yankees do in the playoffs. But I just want to throw this out there and make sure to follow and purchase any of Allie's great stuff on our website, on our FC page, Sincerely Allie Studio, because since 2020, Sincerely Allie's been producing great candles and wine glasses and all this customizable stuff on her page. And you can check it out again. It's all in the ticker below. Follow her at sincerely.allie on Instagram. So if candles are your thing, that's the place to be. She can customize a candle, put the Yankee logo on the candle. You're just in time for tomorrow night's game. We might need some prayer circle candles for tomorrow, Tom. So give her a follow. Check her out on Etsy and buy a candle. Support. We like small businesses. We like supporting small businesses. And give her a follow. And she's doing great things over there. And we thank her for her sponsorship all season.
I like to imagine that Bronxy will be the one putting the prayer circle together.
Yes,
that's where the prayer circle is, right? Bronxy.
Okay. Let's get this out because we didn't talk about this, and I'm glad you brought it up.
I love Bronxy.
We have a fucking turtle in our clubhouse. Everybody's going nuts with this fucking turtle. People have rewatched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all those fucking movies. People are going nuts. People are buying their own pet turtles. What do you think of the Bronxy craze in the Bronx?
So I love it. I absolutely love it because the Yankees, we're Yankee fans. We love watching the Yankees. They win. That's enjoyable. But the Yankees, throughout their history, or at least in our time watching the Yankees, are the least fun team in professional sports.
Correct.
They don't do fun things. They don't wear fun uniforms. They don't have a mascot. And granted, I don't want a mascot, and I don't want, I think we did the alternate uniform. I would like to see them do something like that, but I don't need them to do all that kind of stuff. But having a pet turtle is so much fun. It's just like, oh, the Yankees can have fun. It brings me back to a bad time in Yankee history, like the rally monkey for the Angels. Like, what a fun thing. They had a monkey. It wasn't actually their monkey. It was on the screen. And it's just like something to enjoy, to do. And I love that we have Bronxy. And I just can't wait for Bronxy to hopefully come on the field. I want Bronxy on the Commissioner's Trophy at the end of the season. That's what I want.
Oh, I would love it. I want him swimming in a champagne bath. I don't even know if turtles can do well in champagn baths, but
Rugi said that they were not giving Bronxy any champagne. There was some question if Rugi, if Bronxy was going to be drinking. Bronxy did make the team picture. I'm sure people saw the team picture.
Yes,
of course, Rugi's holding Bronxy. Who else?
It just seems so right.
It's Nestor's turtle, but it's Rugi.
It's Rugi that holds the turtle, right?
Obviously,
exactly.
It's Rugi.
It makes the most sense. Yeah. I love it. I'm down for the fun, and you're right. The Yankees have been the most boring franchise over the last few years, at least when it comes to watching games.
Forever.
They don't have as much fun as most other teams. They don't have a Philly fanatic mascot. They don't have a Mr. Met, livening up the crowd. Now, I kind of disagree with you. I think my years with the Somerset Patriots kind of changed my opinion on the mascot thing. But the Yankees found different ways to try to have fun. I think the light flickering thing during the home run. I think that's a lot of fun that they've done that since they started that. I think they started that in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, with the lights going on and off, during a home run. Really cool stuff. The Death Star alarm that they started middle of the season this year on a 2-strike, 2-out count, I think is a nice element that they added on. So little things, and a turtle is fantastic. And if the players
so much more fun. It's so much more fun than those other things.
Yeah, and in a world based on analytics, if the players say it's because they're winning games because of a fucking turtle, let them believe it's a fucking turtle. That's fine.
It's just good, fun, silly times. That again, a franchise that is very against it. The forever, right? Us growing up, Derek Jeter, love him. Couldn't be less exciting. Like, he didn't do anything. I mean, play wise exciting. But he would never, granted, it wasn't a time for doing bat flips, but Derek Jeter wouldn't do a bat flip. You know what I mean? Mariano Rivera wouldn't come off the mound screaming like Java. Those have always been our best players. Judge now, he's not. Judge is very, Jeter-like. He's great. He's great to watch. He's fun to watch, but he doesn't do any of these like Ronald Acuna type things that get you all like amped up. Now we have a turtle to amp us up.
Well, here's a question. Now, I know you're not the biggest fan of mascots. Well, let's just say the Yankees were to accept the mascot. Is a turtle the worst idea now for a mascot? I know it's the recent craze, but the Bronx is also known for a pretty big zoo in New York. So maybe there could be like a connection to hey, Bronx zoo animal, turtle, the 2021 season, especially if it ends up being a success. Could there be an opportunity there?
I still don't want to see an actual mascot kind of running around, in the whole mascot get up. But listen, if you tell me right now it's ALDS, Yankees win tomorrow, we'll get into it later. It's ALDS game 3, first game at home. Rugi comes up and he comes out to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle theme song as to his at bat. I will lose my mind. The crowd will go nuts. And whatever stupid Ray is on the mound will shit his pants. He will have no choice but to say, I'm fucked. Rugi's about to take me deep. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is playing. I want to see Rugi come out and Rugi's the mascot, essentially. Rugi comes out with the bandana around the eyes. It'd be amazing. It'd be perfect.
I'm trying to get the audio up of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle team, and I got it right now. It's kind of going off in the background, but I'm inspired. I like it. I think if he comes up,
embrace it,
puts it out, it's over. And I think the turtle magic will be in the Bronx. The aura surrounding the Yankees and Red Sox in Fenway Park might be on the fucking hand. It might be because of a damn turtle, and we like to have fun. No, seriously, let's get into it. Yankees, Red Sox, wild card game tomorrow night. What now? Obviously, if you listen to my shows on Leading Off, you kind of know my opinion on this team, but I'll get into it a little bit again. But Tom, how are you feeling about the Yankees going into tomorrow night?
Listen, you can never feel good about the 2021 Yankees. You really can't, because they are so up and down. During the winning streak, you felt good about them, but any other time of the year, even when they've been good, it's never easy, right? Kay says it's never easy, and it's gonna be tough. I do like them tomorrow. I will say that. Now the Yankees hit Eovaldi really hard last time they played him. They faced him. It definitely seemed like the Yankees had a tell on Eovaldi, not in any kind of a underhanded way, but in a way that Eovaldi was tipping something that they picked up on, and they were. I think it was something like they didn't swing at. They only swung like one breaking ball. I think the entire time he was in, it was something like some stat like that. Now, granted, the Red Sox aren't run by a bunch of idiots, so they're going to figure out what that tell was, and he's going to be able to fix it. But that's just one more thing kind of weighing on Eovaldi's head of, I got to keep in mind, I got to keep, whatever, like my elbow, like when I got to throw a curveball, my elbow kind of comes out a little bit, whatever little thing it is. So I think the Yankees could be in their head. I think Garrett Cole has stepped up in big moments, although hasn't been great of late. In big moments, he does step up. And I think the Yankees have a good chance to be able to beat the Boston Red Sox tomorrow night.
Anyone has a chance in a wild card game. And
anyone has a chance.
Anyone has a chance. And even looking ahead to the National League wild card game on Wednesday between the Dodgers and the Cardinals have been a very hot team going into the playoffs. The Dodgers have been a beast in the playoffs for the last few years, obviously resulting in their World Series from last year, which they have won. But hey, it's anyone's fucking game and anything can happen. And I hope for the Yankees, everything happens the right way. I hope the team clicks, comes out early, first inning, puts up a 5 spot. I hope they knock out Eovaldi early, get into that bullpen. I hope Cole shoves. But hope and reality are two different things, Tom. And unfortunately, if you listen to the broadcast early on leading off, I predicted the Red Sox were going to rout the Yankees in the wild card game tomorrow. This is unbiased journalism on my end. Unbiased journalism that I hope that I'm completely wrong on, and maybe it's a bit of reverse psychology in a way. But I just look at how how cold the Yankees' bats have been over the last few games. I worry with Gerrit Cole and his progression going into this postseason game. And I think of the biggest chip on the shoulder that the Red Sox are going to have after the Yankees took 3 in Fenway last weekend. 3 huge games that, listen, Red Sox still got first place in the wild card game, but that series did not make it easy for that team. So they're going to come out swinging. You know, I expect big games from Devers and Kike Hernandez, who have killed the Yankees. It's going to be a tough climb for the bats if they don't start off early, and if they can't get things going early, I don't see this team getting past tomorrow's game, unfortunately. So I have the Red Sox taking this, and I hope I'm fucking wrong. Obviously, I'm hoping fucking wrong. I hope I'm not. I'm doing the last weekly show, Savages of the Bronx, after Game 7, not even Game 4 of the Yankee sweep of the World Series. I hope I'm fucking wrong, but this is my bold prediction: Red Sox will win tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Yankees have been up and down all year. So if you tell me Red Sox win tomorrow 4-0, Yankees get 2 hits, I'd say, okay, yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe it. I just think it's a team that, and we'll hopefully, I guess we're not going to be able to preview an ALDS because it will happen before, it'll happen before our next show. But the Rays just have the Yankees number. They're in their heads. They own the Yankees. They basically own Yankee Stadium. May as well call it Tropicana Field. They own the team. They're in all their heads. That's what it is at this point. But I don't think the Red Sox are. I think it's gonna be an interesting game because it's 2 teams where the Red Sox, like you said, were picked to not do well this year. They feel like they're playing with house money. The Yankees are a team who were how many games out in the middle of the season. Again, a bit playing with house money. I think these teams could play very loose and see what happens, because it's a few weeks ago, granted, after the Yankees come off that winning streak, but the Yankees wouldn't think they were going to be in this game if you ask a few months ago, and the Red Sox were pretty far back too. So I think it has the chance to be just a fun game. Offense could show up, but I think Cole shows up even more, and I think the Yankees have a good chance to win this game pretty handily, especially with how they're pitching right now.
There's 1 or 2 ways I can see this game happening. It's either going to be a rout, like I'm predicting for the Red Sox, or it's going to be a shutout, games won by 1 run. It's going to be that sort. I just don't see it being an in-between game. It's either going to be a super low-scoring game, or it's going to be a team just absolutely demolishing the other side. I that's how I'm seeing it. Now, here's a good number to hear. The number 9. And what is that number 9 significant to the wild card game? Well,
Roger
that's
Maris.
the amount of home. Well, sorry?
Roger Maris.
He is the number 9. Yes, he's number 9.
9.
A retired number that should have never been retired by the Yankees. But that was another conversation for a previous time. 9 is the amount of home team wins at the wild card game. They actually, 9. Hold on a second, I fucked up. Visiting teams. 9 wins for visiting teams in wild card games. They're routing home teams. So I think the home teams have 7. Yeah. So home teams who have hosted the wild card game have only won 7 times. Away teams have won 9 times. Hopefully the Yankees are the 10th. Obviously. We want to continue the show. We want to see a World Series victory. But that's a weird, it's a weird, like one of those weird baseball stats that don't fucking matter. But yes, road teams have a better success rate in the wild card game than home teams. But this will be the first wild card game for the Yankees on the road. So another interesting scenario. It's a game that the Yankees have played in more times than the Red Sox. So another good
more
event
times than anyone at this point, I imagine. I don't think anyone else is playing for these just absolute pacemaker inducing games.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't even know. I would have to pull that up real quick of who's played the most wild card games.
Well, there's been 16 games. The Yankees have played 4.
The Yankees, right? The Yankees with 4. There actually is another team with 4. Another American League team. It's a team that the Yankees had played in the wild card game.
The Twins?
The Oakland A's. Oakland A's also 4 games in the wild card. Is that including the 2020 postseason as well? That shouldn't count.
That was a funky.
I think that might count though. Yep, that's counting the 2020 season. So ignore that. Yankees have the most appearances in the wild card game, the 1-game wild card game. So there's that. Now, let's look at this roster, and we can take it in multiple ways here, Tom. Tomorrow's roster. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of locks that we can probably run. We don't have to even worry about even mentioning here. The Judges, the Stantons, the Coles, those guys are going to be in it. But there's a few spots that, are debatable. So I kind of want to take the opportunity, rattle off a couple names, and real quickly, yes or no, if they're going to make the wild card game roster or not. You down for that, bud?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Let's start it off with Luis Gil.
I'd say no. Out.
I like the fucking velocity on him, but the experience factor is kind of a killer, and putting him in a spot like this would be a bit unfair.
So yeah, I would say the way these wild card rosters are always set up, right? You don't need 5 starting pitchers. You don't need 4. You don't need 3. You really need 2 starting pitchers. You need your guy who better pitch. Oh boy, choked on that. The thought of Garrett Cole not pitching tomorrow. And then you need another guy in case Garrett Cole, 10 minutes before the game comes down with a case of the shits. And he's just like, I can't go, guys. I am pooping my pants. So you need a second starter for that. Unless you think Gil is that second starter, I just don't see where he factors in to the bullpen in this game.
As I kind of put it, I wrote this down, and I have 23 guys that I can absolutely lock in for this roster, and I'll rattle it off real quickly. Maybe I should have did that before. Sanchez, Higashioka, Rizzo. I'm going position. Rizzo, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela, Odor, Tyler Wade, Andrew Velasquez, because now it's a need that we need him on this team because LeMahieu's hurt and Voigt's hurt. Gallo, Gardner, Judge, Stanton, Cole, obviously, Chapman, Green, Clay Holmes, Loaizaga, and then more relievers: Herman, Michael King, Lucas Licky, Wandy Peralta, Joely Rodriguez, and Luis Severino. That's 23 spots right there. So would you agree with those 23? Is there somebody you would have taken out?
I don't think Joely is in for this. He's been really bad recently. Mm-hmm. And with Litke and with Wandy, those are your lefties, especially in a scenario where we don't have the 3 batter rule, and you could just bring in Joely to face a Devers or a Schwarber, maybe. But you can't. We saw they brought him in Boston last time, and if he doesn't get the out, he's screwed. So I don't think you could put him in. He's the only one in that group I would say I hope is not there. And you saw what the Yankees thought of him today. He's the one that they basically threw out to the Wolves to just finish out that game on Saturday.
Joely could be that guy if it came down to it and you need to get one more left-handed batter out going into the end of an inning, because obviously with the 3-batter minimum and the close to an inning, those are the only rules that you can have strapped against a reliever. If Rodriguez comes to a spot where you can face a lefty with 2 outs and get that lefty out, and then you can send him on his way, then that could be the role for him. And that's fine, because Peralta, Licky are going to probably pitch in more high-leverage spots. They're more clutch than Rodriguez. Yeah, Rodriguez out of the bunch. Even when I put him in there, I was like, iffy, but that's one that I'm like, I can deal with having a third left-handed reliever in that pen. Ain't
I
Andrew
mean,
Heaney, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be him. And with a 26-man roster and the only need for really 2 starting pitchers, if he's there, okay, I guess, but he better not be in the game. You can't put him in because even if you bring him up again, it's against Schwarber or Devers is the situation. If he doesn't get him out, they're done. Unless the Yankees are going to, I am still waiting for the one team that the 3-batter rule, the lefty doesn't get the lefty out. And then he's like, ow, my elbow, I got to come out of the game. And then that's how you get around it. That's the only way you get out. So I don't know. I don't think you can bring – if Joely Rodriguez enters the game tomorrow, I'm turning the TV off.
That's problematic. I have 4 starting pitchers that it's obviously you're not going to keep at least 2 of these guys if you're expecting them to start game 1 and game 2 of the wild card of the division series. The Yankees make it past the wild card game. And those 4, Jordan Montgomery, Nestor Cortez, Corey Kluber, and Jameson Taillon. Of those 4, who would make the most sense to keep on the roster for tomorrow night?
I feel like it's an easy answer because one of them has pitched in the bullpen before regularly. That's Nestor Cortez.
Yeah.
Bronxy's daddy.
Mustachio Nestor. Yes.
Absolutely. I think it has to be him. Taillon just started on Sunday. You're not going to bring him back. Montgomery looked horrible on Saturday. You can't feel good about him. And Kluber is someone who has times he looks good, but he's not someone I'd have to look up his stats out of the bullpen, but I can't imagine it's that often. Like he's a creature and a machine and a robot of habit. And I don't think putting him in, having to shove him in the second inning of a game works. Nestor could do it. Now you don't hope to go to Nestor. You hope this other pitcher, this other starters on the roster never takes his jacket off tomorrow. He sits there, he's chilling with Bronxy, and that's his job, is to maybe feed Bronxy little pieces of carrots or lettuce or whatever turtles eat. Pizza, obviously.
Yeah, right. Of course. Pizza. Super Shredder. Got it. I got 2 more guys that I'm like on the borderline with. Albert Abreu.
I mean, again, I think with the Yankees bullpen, what they have of Loaisiga, Holmes, Severino, Green, Wandy, Litke, King. Those 7 and Chapman, 8.
And Herman.
And Herman, I guess. Where do we see Abreu come in? I just don't see
it. You don't know how the game's going to go, and I don't mind that high velocity guy being in there as a, God forbid, extra innings sort of guy. You've already gotten through most of the bullpen. I guess the problem with having as many bullpen arms as possible. I guess
Herman. If Herman's there, Herman is the guy that if the game goes to extras, this is the one who's coming in. I think that could be his role because I think King and Severino are guys who are now more trusted out of the bullpen, and they're going to come in and they're going to get big outs wherever they're needed to be gotten.
I have one more guy that I'm locking in for this roster who's not even on the active roster right now. Estevan Florial.
Yeah, I think Florial has to be there. The Yankees love to put Wade in for pinch running, but listen, it's in a 1-game playoff. The Yankees, right? They held Wade to the 9th inning yesterday. It worked out perfectly, but after that, you're going to want another guy to possibly do it. The Yankees have a lot of slow people. You always get pinch run for a catcher. You can always pinch run for Gio. You could pinch run for Rizzo.
Yep.
You can pinch run for Stanton. Those are guys in big spots. And if let's say you burn Wade in the 7th inning because it's a big spot, you're going to want to be able to have a guy like Florial later in the game come in to run. So I think he absolutely should be there. And I'll be honest, even a guy like I know Greg Allen isn't on the 40-man, so he can't be. Was it Jonathan Davis, right? He was the one he came
not on the 40-man, though.
I thought he is on the 40-man. If he isn't, I would look, basically, if you are athletic, I'd have you on the bench because you have the spots for it. And I would have a guy that you don't think you're going to use him, but I don't know. I'd have him up for it.
Yeah, and that's really the role Florial would be. Florial would be your Jared Dyson. Florial would be your Terrence Gore. He would be your guy that you need to steal a base with, and that's his role.
Oh,
defensive
replacement
on the
possibly. 40-man, though.
What's up?
Clint Frazier's on the 40-man.
Ah, fuck him. But I love Clint Frazier. But
He is. Yeah, you're right. Jonathan Davis is not on the first.
Another point that was kind of brought up as well, and I don't think he'll make it, but this is God, like knock on wood. If Anthony Rizzo is hurt for whatever reason, who plays first base in this team?
I know Gary has tried out playing some first. We've seen him attempt it in like warm-ups.
Because obviously the backups in any of that scenario would have been moving LeMahieu over the first base or having Voit come off the bench and play first base, but you don't have those options anymore. The only other guy you can think of is Gallo, but Gallo really should be in the outfield, and you're kind of trapped for outfielders as well. It's a tough spot. So it's like, does Chris Gittins crack a spot as a God forbid backup that, for injury's sake?
I think you would slide Gio over, and then you have Rugi, Velasquez, Wade, and Glaber to fill out the rest of the infield. It's a situation that if the Yankees are in that spot, like it's not looking good.
No, it's not.
But I don't know. I think it's a situation also where you hear it enough. Just about anyone can play first base, not to the level of Anthony Rizzo, but if you tell me, I'm sure Stanton can figure it out. All right, just stand there, be tall, catch the ball, figure it out.
All right, let's put a cap on this wild card preview with lineups for tomorrow. Obviously, we know Cole is going to be on the mound for the Yanks. That's a lock, but we don't know what the lock is for the lineup. There's already they're rumoring that Torres is likely going to be leading off tomorrow, and that's all fine and dandy. Torres has been swinging a nice bat, but I think we should throw our hat in the mix here, and maybe, Booney and the organizations listening in on Savage the Bronx, maybe they are those very few viewers here tonight on this postseason edition of the show. So, Tom, starting with you, what would be your lineup tomorrow night if you had the opportunity to manage this team?
So, if I had the opportunity to manage this team, I am going to start Glaber leading off, playing second base. He looks more comfortable at second. He says he's swinging a better bat. I then got Rizzo at first, 2-hole. A lot of the beginning of this lineup is pretty standard how it's been. Judge, third, right field. Stanton, fourth, DH. I hate that Gallo's hitting fifth, but I don't know where else you put him at this point. I have Gallo, fifth, left field. I have Gio hitting sixth, coming off the Jeter-esque catch.
Fantastic
Sunday.
Best play by the Yankees this year.
Incredible play. I have Gio at third, hitting sixth. Garrett Cole's on the mound, so Higgy's going to be behind the plate, which I think also with some of the struggles we've seen with Gary defensively, I think you kind of need to have Higgy back there. In a one-game playoff, in a one-game elimination game, I got Higgy hitting seventh. And then we get a little controversial. Eighth at shortstop, I have Andrew Velasquez. Because I think in a game, like you said, the Yankees win, it's going to be close. You need to play good defense. You need to have your best third baseman playing third, and you need to have your best shortstop playing short. And your best shortstop defensively is Andrew Velasquez. He's also a switch hitter. He can steal some bases. He's a kid, but listen, he's still a kid from the Bronx. He's never seen like the moment is too big for him. I have Velasquez hitting eighth at short, and also a switch hitter. I think I mentioned that, but I forgot. Mm-hmm. And then ninth, I have Gardy. I have Gardy in center field. I think Gardy is a better hitter than Higgy or Velasquez, but I like the circular idea of a lineup. I like the idea of Gardner then leading into Glaber to Rizzo to have some of those really tough at-bats late in a game. And that is my lineup.
My lineup's fucking completely different than yours, actually. Which is great because I know we talked about before the show. It's like, our lineups might be the same. I was like, no, my lineup is completely different than yours. I have a completely different theory on about every single point that you just made. So,
you're an idiot.
Torres has been swinging a great bat. I don't know if I would still put him up towards the leadoff spot because what I want to try to do is I want to try to split up this lineup a bit. Kind of going back to the conversation we had when Gallo was traded to the Yankees and we were trying to figure out what would be the lineup, or no, when it was after. So no, it was the Rizzo trade that we had talked about on an extra innings episode. We kind of was trying to figure out how the lineup would look. Again, I want to try to split up power with contact because I don't want all the all or nothing guys so top heavy, and I don't want them back to back to back to back. So here we go. You're going to be shocked when I say who I think should lead off tomorrow night.
Is it Anthony Rizzo?
Brett Gardner. The guard dog leading off.
I don't hate
his
that.
Former teammate against a right-handed pitcher, Brett Gardner in the leadoff spot. And I wish I could pull up like individual numbers. I didn't have enough time because obviously we came up with this segment on the fly. But Gardner in the leadoff spot, I trust him as being the guy who's going to grind out at bats. He's going to be the guy to make some act. Listen, if he gets on, he can steal a bag if need be. You know, maybe not to the accuracy that he used to have, but he's a guy who's going to give you legs at the top of the order, and I kind of want that. You're not going to get that with Gleyber Torres to start off the game. You can get that with Gardner, possibly. Number 2, I'm sliding Aaron Judge back to the 2-hole. I think you need a guy who's going to give you as immediate thump as possible. Gardy gets on. You have a potential Judge pushing him over or, you know, bringing them all home on one swing of the bat. And there you go, 2-0 game off the rip with your best player in the 2-hole. Number 3, got Rizzo. So just switching Judge and Rizzo here. Rizzo, the lefty bat. Again, you know, lefty, righty, lefty split there. Stanton in the number 4 spot's an obvious. I think that's like a given. He's got to be your guy there at the DH spot. So Guardian center, Judge and right, Rizzo first base, Stanton DH. In the 5-hole, now I have Gleyber Torres, a second baseman. He's been swinging a better bat lately, playing good defense. He made a nice stop yesterday, so obviously keeping him there at the second base position, keep him comfortable there. In the 6th spot, dropping Gallo down to the 6th spot. Another lefty. Again, now you're looking at lefty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty. So there's your split there. You split up, you know, Stanton and Gallo with Torres, who's been swinging a good bat. Then you got Urshela, batting 7th, playing third base, putting him in his more comfortable position. Again, we're monitoring that leg injury of sorts. He says he's okay, but you know we want to keep him in his comfortable position. We don't want to stress him out. Keep him there in the 7th spot too. Again, another contact bat. In the 8th spot, Gary Sanchez, and this is where we debate here because I get it. Kyle is Cole's guy, and you want Cole to be with his guy for his big start. But guess what? Cole with his guy still hasn't been great over the last few starts. I need the bats, man. And that's been a problem over these last few games. I need as much thump as possible. And that's not a knock at Higashioka. I know I can get probably better production from Sanchez. The defense is tough to fucking live with. But we're a Gary pod. And I'm still going to support my man.
We are a Gary pod.
Fucking bats. I need Gary in this lineup. Fuck you, Garrett. Get over your bullshit and just throw to this fucking guy already. And again, it's another power bat. And we're ending this lineup with a lefty who's going to be starting at shortstop. And it's not Velasquez, switch hitter, but Tyler Wade. I got Tyler Wade in this lineup, starting the game. Left-handed hitter. You know, Wade's been our guy at the end of the game, stealing bases. But listen, if you have Velasquez and Florial on your bench, they could easily be those guys as well. So I feel good with this lineup. It's not going to happen. But again, you get 4 lefties in there, split up with righties. You're splitting up contact bats with power bats. You're keeping the line moving. We're trusting Gary Sanchez's bat more than his defense and his acumen with Garrett Cole. This is the lineup I'm riding with. I need as much offense as possible.
I do like a lot about that lineup. I really do. I guess when I was putting mine together, it was what I would do. Also, a little bit of thinking like what makes sense / what they're going to do.
I'm over what they're going to do. I need to do what I'm going to do.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see Gary starting. It'd be awesome. But I don't know. I just think my thought is I want not just the best lineup. I want the best defensive lineup we could throw out there. And I think Higgy over Gary. And I think Velasquez over Wade. Velasquez is a better shortstop than Tyler Wade is. I think that gives you the best defensive lineup in a game that if the Yankees win, they win close games. And in close games, you got to play good defense. So that's kind of where I landed.
I saw an alignment that I was like, you can't pull this off on a 1-game elimination playoff. But somebody was like, why don't you move Joey Gallo back to his old position of third base, put Stanton in the outfield, have Urshela play at short, DH Sanchez, and have Higgy catch. And to make all those moves just to get Sanchez in the lineup over Higgy is just ridiculous to do in a winner-take-all. So whoever made that take is a poo-poo take. But it's an alignment they should have worked with during the season. It's too late to do something like that. Not the worst idea if it was like, game 140 of the season, but this is the
and
winner
you
take
start
all
trying
weekend.
it. Yeah, no, I don't think you could do that. So yeah, I think two different ways to approach the game. You're trying to get as much thump into that lineup as you can, and I'm going a little bit more of play some defense, keep it close. The Yankees have better pitching than the Red Sox. They have a better bullpen. They have a better guy on the mound to start the game.
Yeah.
Win the
Yeah, I
game
mean,
that way. That's how they win.
Right. And realistically, we're probably going to see a lineup that's been akin to what we've seen over the last few games. Door's probably going to be in there. Higgy's going to be in there over Sanchez towards the bottom of the order. There's going to be no real split of Judge, Stanton, Gallo, and Torres is going to be at the top. That seems to be confirmed. And, that's it. Maybe you got a couple of questions defensively what they may do, but it's going to be a status quo kind of lineup. So you just kind of hope that this team can just get out early and get banging, get off to a hot start. But I mean, as far as trying to create sustainable offense throughout the game, this lineup is just too damn top heavy again. And listen, hopefully it works out. Obviously, we were all hoping it works out, all us Savages and Turtles alike. But it's going to be a tough road tomorrow.
How do you see what? I guess I know we're going kind of long here, but what do you see the pitching situation for tomorrow? How do you want that to go? How do you see it going? What's the how does that go?
I mean, it all depends. Obviously, it all depends on our starting pitcher. If Garrett has it, Garrett's going to go as far as possible. Lay off the bullpen as much. Listen, if Garrett fucking has it, Garrett's going to go 9. But that's not realistic. At the minimum, if it's a close game and Garrett's like, has his moments, but it's a close game. Garrett, give me 5, and we turn it over to Severino. We turn it over to Green. And we turn it over to Chapman. Sevy for 2, Green for 1, or like some sort of 3 inning between Severino and Green, and then Chapman.
Yeah, I agree with you that. Listen, Garrett.
Oh wait, fuck Green, Loizaga. What am I saying?
I was going to point that out, but
idiot?
I think Garrett basically there's 2 reasons he comes out of this game. 1, he's bad. 2 is the Yankees are blowing out the Red Sox.
Yeah,
and that's the only times you take him out of the game.
Yeah,
if Garrett Cole gives you,
even if they're blowing him out and it's 10-0, it's a fucking routing. Wouldn't you still want Cole to just go the whole way and just save as much bullpen as possible for the next few games?
No, because I think we have enough bullpen, and you don't want to just run Cole into the ground because he's going to have to pitch again.
So the max you would have Cole on if he's rolling would be what?
If he's rolling and they need him to roll, he rolls as long as he until he can't roll no more. I think realistically you want to get at least 6 out of Cole. And then from there, it's going to be kind of matchup wise. If it's a inning coming up with Schwarber and Devers, I think that could be a Wandy inning or a Lifty inning, probably a Wandy inning.
Yep.
And then I think right now, who do you feel best about in this bullpen? It's Sevy and it's Loizaga. So I think if Cole gives you 6, 7, 8, depending on how that goes with where Wandy needs to fit in there. And then obviously Chapman to close it. We'll see. It'll be interesting. What I think could be interesting, I don't think the Yankees will do it, is in a scenario where it's a close game. It's the bottom of the 8th, and the top of the Red Sox lineup is up. So you have Schwarber and Devers coming up in the inning. The chances that they could go to Chapman there make so much sense because of the lefty situation. They won't do it. But I would love to see them do it and then say, "Hey, listen, is it Green? Is it Loizaga? Is it Sevy?
Johnny.
Who's
Johnny or Sevy? Because Sevy's been in the big game. I wouldn't be afraid if they did that. I would make sense.
I don't think
from a
they
matchup
will.
standpoint, that would make so much sense. But it's again just because he pitched in the 8th inning doesn't mean he can't pitch in the 9th, which is very true. A lot of pitchers cannot handle the closer's job. They can't handle the save situation. I think Loizaga is young enough to kind of like I think he's just pitching on another level. I feel good
think
about
he
him,
wants
and I
it.
like the playoff experience of Sevy. So I'm just like, I feel good with Sevy closing out a game if need be.
Loizaga wants it. I'll be honest, and we've had our issues with Chapman because he was so up and down. I don't know if you were listening to the game on Friday, but Mariano was in the booth with
I heard
Kay
this.
and Kenny, and he said that he sees himself in Johnny Lasagna, and there's no better compliment you could pay to a reliever than Mariano Rivera saying
it's a great parallel there. It's a great parallel because they look a lot. First of all, they do look alike. Loizaga
very
does
similar
look like a
build.
very young Mariano. Mm-hmm. He's starting as a starting pitcher. That's how they viewed in the big leagues, and now they're in, and then they became high leverage relievers. Loizaga has the potential to replace Aroldis Chapman as the closer of this team. I mean, that is without a doubt. He has been that good.
Or the Yankees, a bit grow up how a lot of other teams are doing it, and you don't have a closer. You just have guys, and you throw them out there the way the Rays do it, which I think makes a lot more sense. But,
Yep.
We'll
good
see.
stuff. We will see tomorrow night, 8:08 p.m. on ESPN, the wild card game. Make sure to follow us, though. Follow me, rather, not Tom, on my other show, Leading Off.
Don't follow me anywhere.
Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch, hosted by yours truly and my buddy Espo, our mutual buddy Espo, who's been also a guest of the show and recurring guest in our chat. You can follow us at LOF Podcast. And we always appreciate the love. We're going to end off our show with a little hot take, hot fake. It's been a while. I'm sure it's going to be more postseason themed than anything, where Tom and I are going to try to call each other out on our bullshit to see if we are backing a real take or we are faking it until we're making it. Tom, what's your hot take, hot fake?
So I'm going to go with, I said I think the Yankees have a very good chance of winning tomorrow, and that's going to be an assumption in this hot take, hot fake. My hot take is the Yankees beat the Rays in 4 in the ALDS.
Fake.
I'll be honest, it's kind of a bit of I don't know, like an in-between one. I think it's possible.
Never doing this segment again.
No, I think it's possible. Well, we can go with a hot take because I think the Yankees, we just saw the Rays, although the Yankees were able to beat them on Sunday to get into the playoffs, the Rays own the Yankees. We talked about it earlier. And I think it could be the time for the Yankees to just get over it. Someone slap him in the face. Bronxy come up, slap him in the face and say, you're the goddamn New York Yankees. Beat these fucking losers. Take Kevin Cash's face and shove it in the ground. And I think this is the time the Yankees could do that if they can get past the Red Sox. They stop getting in their own heads with the Rays and Rays ball and the trop and the roof and the catwalks. And they just they go down there and they win the first 2. And then, either they split in the stadium or honestly, maybe even just sweep them. And you just end this shit with the Rays. I think the Yankees, they need to do it. They need someone to step up and say, we're done with this shit with this little loser poverty franchise. And they just handle business and they move on.
I love the optimism. The Yankees just don't have what it takes to beat the Rays in the next round if they get there. The Yankees are already going to be playing with their backs against the wall without their ace, starting things off. And maybe it's the best for the best. He's the same guy who also gave up a 14-run performance to the fucking Rays or whatever the fuck it was not too long ago. I just think the Rays are just a better run team right now. And that's a team that's definitely going to go far into this postseason. And I love the optimism. I hope you're right. But, it is what it is. My hot take, hot fake. Tomorrow will be the final game managed by Aaron Boone.
Ooh, I think that's a hot take.
It's a hot take. It's a hot fucking take. As I said, Red Sox are routing the Yankees tomorrow. It is not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty, and I hope I'm fucking wrong. It's not going to be a pretty one. This team is disappointed. This team was supposed to be in the this team's supposed to be in the World Series this year. And listen, they very well could be there. They very well could be there. I don't think they're going to. This team is disappointed. There's somebody that needs to be the fall guy. Aaron Boone, unfortunately, is going to be that guy. Whether you love him or you hate him, it's time to move on from the guy. And I think tomorrow, and especially it's going to be telling to see too, depending even how that game goes, to be embarrassed in Boston. If the Yankees get routed in Boston, the first person the Yankee fans are going to want on a fucking steak is going to be Aaron Boone's head.
I think if that does
the final game for Aaron.
I think if that does happen, I think there's a very good chance. And I do think, regardless of how the season ends, not great if it ends in, at the very least in like an ALCS situation, you can't really move on from Boone and what they got going. You figure out we'll be better next year. We won't lose so many close games. Won't be in the stupid wild card again.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they need a new voice and a new outlook. I just don't know if firing Boone does that. I would love to know, and this is more of like a postseason, or not a postseason, but like an actual off-season conversation of
Right.
where does this approach that they have come from, right? So, is it Boone? Is it Tim's? Is it coming more from the front office that how they play and how they approach things? Because it doesn't seem to work, even beyond the resting guys and that kind of stuff. Just like a situation with like Gleyber Torres and like someone needs to tell Gleyber Torres to stop swinging for the freaking fences. Like he's a better hitter than that, and so many of the guys on the team have that approach. I don't know. I think that, but I don't know if Boone leaving fixes that.
Well, Tom, this is 2021. It's front office baseball. And unfortunately, Aaron Boone is going to be the first person to knock off because it's easier just to put all the blame on the manager. He is the face of the organization, and he's the guy that is taking direct demands and orders from the organization and how they want the team to be played out. There's no reason why Andrew Heaney should have been pitching in certain games that he was pitching in after he had already blown chances. And I think the only reason why he was being put into those games so the Yankees didn't look like they had egg on their face making a stupid trade in the trade deadline. It's organization-run baseball. It's not a manager's decision anymore. It's not, things don't happen on the field like you see it. They're all from the front office. And not just with the Yankees, with many organizations. Now, some organizations have done it well, and some organizations do look like idiots sometimes. Look at the Rays last year in the World Series with Blake Snell. But it's all not a manager's decision. There is a lot of front office say. There's a lot of analytics to go into every game. It's the A word I hate hearing the most because I'm an old school baseball guy. But that's the game. And unfortunately, Aaron Boone is the face of that organization. He is not the guy to necessarily really blame directly because I'm sure it's not him saying this is what needs to happen. He's kind of just, in a way, a messenger almost. He's a carrier pigeon for the fucking organization. So, yeah, he's going to be the one to hit the chopping block because he is the face of that, and it's just easy. But, yeah, there's a lot of internal changes that need to take place. A lot of changes in development, a lot of changes in who deals with the transactions and the adding of players, the subtract. There's a lot of changes that need to be made during this coming season if the Yankees – and I think even if the Yankees do find success in the postseason, I think there's still changes that need to be made for this team.
It'll be interesting. It'll be definitely interesting to see if that happens and if they have the fortitude or whatever to make that call to if they make like a CS or a World Series and say, you know what, this still didn't work. We didn't get here the way we're supposed to, and you wonder if they would make some of those changes, or they say, nope, it worked. Look, we were right the whole time. It's gonna be. I think either way, this is gonna be a very eventful offseason for the New York Yankees.
And we will cover that very eventful offseason in our last weekly episodic show of Savages in the Bronx. We'll preview what we expect for the team. But we don't know when that episode's going to be because it's going to happen after the Yankees' last game in the postseason. Hopefully it's in the last game of the World Series and they win. But it could be as soon as tomorrow, and our next and last show, the weekly episodic shows, would be this coming Monday. So we'll keep you posted on everything on Twitter and let you know the select shows that we have going on for the off season. But that'll be it for tonight's edition of Savages in the Bronx. We will see you here next Monday, regardless of what happens tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch. Let's go Yankees, Tom. I know I made the fucking take of the century saying Boone's managing his last game. I had the Red Sox over the Yankees, routing the Yankees tomorrow. I hope the reverse psychology kind of works. But the Yankees, we're rooting for them. We love them. They're the reason why we have a podcast. Let's go Yanks.
Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Yanks. We'll see you here next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch. Take care.